Well, hey, welcome back to Kings Road Young Lions. I'm your DM for this evening. My name is Saucey, and I'm here with four wonderful red-blooded American role players. They are the Young Lions: Rosa, Gator, Bronson, and Solomon. Say hello, Young Lions.
Hello, young lions. I win.
My blood's
Hello,
not red
young
until
lions.
it gets touched by oxygen.
Hello, young lions.
Where we last left off on Kings Road Young Lions, our intrepid group of adventurers had just entered a dojo inside a haunted town after defeating and defiling a necromancer, stealing her crown, stealing her earrings, and then entering this dojo to obtain a badge, which it's unclear whether or not they actually needed to obtain in the first place. Yet, we are still here, and we are still on this mission, this honor quest, if you will, where our young challenger forges on the King's Road and has been faced with a dilemma.
Much to everyone's chagrin, he keeps going on these challenges.
That's right, but it is an honor quest, and there's a lot to be said about honor. You know, if you did it the wrong way, you'd just be cheating yourself. So here we are, and in this particular case, there was an offering bowl in front of a statue inside a very honorable location. This is the town dojo, the gym of Suplex City, and in line with that tradition, Bronson made three offerings in the bowl: a pure offering, a
Gold
offering, and the third was a sincere offering. I don't even remember what they were anymore.
That's how much it matters.
But what was offered up was a religious text, which was rescued from the temple inside of Suplex City. This was a Book of Mirrodin, which Bronson had stowed away secretly without informing the rest of the party. Good intentions, but if there is a pure item in the inventory, that's probably it. A sacred text will do it. The gold offering was the signet ring of the Celtigar family, so a very sentimental item given up by Bronson. And third, the sincere gift. I know that's not the word that we used before, but was the badge that Bronson had just obtained in this town. Although there were a whole crate of badges, this was his badge. So he offers up the three. They dissipate, and a sword reveals itself in the hands of this statue, which is sitting in a lotus position. Bronson takes this sword, and after attuning himself to it, figures out that it will give him glimpses of the future if he focuses on it. And of course, the one thing that he wants to focus on is, okay, how do I actually get this badge and get out of here and get my book back? And through the magic of that item, Bronson is revealed a vision. He's revealed multiple visions, and it's a history of this dojo, of how the previous keepers of the dojo, the masters, if you will, defended this dojo against the powers of necromancy and the dark spirits that were attacking it. They defended for as long as they could. They cast a ward of protection over this building so that it would not be affected by the necrotic damage that the rest of the town was affected by. However, they eventually succumbed to the dark magic anyway, and became protectors of the space in their afterlife. Just to add a little bit to that vision, and this is a little extra flavor that we didn't talk about last time, there have been other groups who have came to this dojo and have retrieved badges. Two groups in particular. The first group is a group of adventurers that look very familiar. to the rest of the group.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Harvey Marks was in that.
That's right, led by a jovial figure, the large, bald fighter who the parties ran into a couple times now, Harvey Marks. Bronson nearly beat him to death in front of his children in Lucha Lucha Town, but no hard feelings are to be had there because Harvey just understands that it's business. So when they reconnected back at Iron Vale, I believe it was, they were, they had a drink together and all was forgotten. He is accompanied by a couple other adventurers. The Snake Lady, Lexi Gold, is there as well. Of course, Snake Lady as in she has an affinity for large constricting snakes, pythons.
She is a Yuanti.
She is not partially reptile. She's not a lizard person. She's a pretty lady who likes snakes. In addition to that, we've got Little Maxim. That is the gnome fighter, which has crossed paths with the group a couple times now. Undersized and underestimated, but still quite the challenger and very recognizable. Stands out from the rest of the group. And finally, in that group, the kangaroo folk that goes by the name Rubu. He's a chain smoker. He's easy to spot in a crowd. He's always got a trail behind him. And they appear to be on the same quest that Bronson is on. Despite the current condition of the world, they are still on this honor quest to obtain 7 badges from 7 gyms. So that's one group. The second group to appear and to claim their badge inside this dojo is a single individual, a masked individual with a white mask with black teardrops coming out of the eyes and from the corners of its mouth. This individual wears a long black trench coat that's missing one arm. One of the sleeves is ripped off, I should say. And the arm that protrudes from that trench coat is muscled and is holding a black baseball bat. That individual also claims the badge and leaves the dojo. So these were the visions that were flooded into the mind of Bronson as he focused. So Bronson, that brings us to this moment where you have to decide, do you want to keep this sword or would you like to return the sword and possibly offend the spirits which you have seen before by asking for your offerings back?
I mean, I would love to have all my stuff back, but I mean, I'm not willing to turn this into a battleground. So I think I'm just gonna take the hint.
Well, we're gonna retcon this a little bit, and we're gonna say that the figure hasn't appeared yet, but you are aware of a presence inside the room as you are hesitating and deliberating over what to do here. This hesitancy has caused a disturbance.
Yeah, it was like the vibe was changing, like because I was talking to him and he was like communicating through like bells ringing and the wind and stuff like that, and
That's
then
right.
it got like a little bit like aggressive and defensive or something like that, if I recall correctly. And so I think I'm gonna take that hint and just be like, you know what? All right.
So we're gonna retcon this a little bit, and you have this sword of truth, and you are contemplating whether or not to return it to the statue's hands or to keep it. And you notice the closer you bring it to the statue, you start to see this transparent image of these offerings reappearing in the bowl.
Oh.
So this is the moral dilemma for you. And Gator is there with you, right? It's just Gator and Bronson inside this dojo. So between the two of you, Gator, do you have anything you'd like to say to Bronson in this moment as he's making this tough decision?
Well, we don't need to borrow trouble, as I like to say. So, usually I don't mind getting into a little bit of trouble, but this seems like a lot of trouble.
Yeah, I'm wondering whether or not.
Well, Gator, let's have an Arcana check.
I know what the number is, but it's been a couple weeks, so let me just make sure. Okay, yeah, that's what I thought it was. It's a 9.
A 9. Yeah.
Mm.
So you're kind of at a loss here. This could go sideways pretty quickly. And you're a little spooked out by what you've seen here so far. In fact, let's play some creepy music just to set the tone. So do you risk it? Do you say thanks but no thanks? Do you just take the sword and leave, or do you press on asking for both the sword and your offerings back?
No, I'm not gonna do that for sure.
Okay. Well,
I think I'm gonna think about it for a second, like, and so, like, this is what I've been like in our downtime. I've been thinking out of character, but it's definitely something that Bronson is weighing in character too. He knows what the sword is capable of. It has occurred to him that it would be much more useful to have that than all of the items that he's put in, but they do have such high sentimental value, and so he's just weighing you know the potential value of what could be done with the sword versus some sentimental objects that ultimately could be replaced. And so I think he's gonna sort of like reach out a little bit and see that it makes them more corporeal, but then he's gonna pull it back and stow it in his belt and just kind of like nod and just sort of walk out.
Well, before you go, one more decision to make. You currently have no badge.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna hop down into the thing and grab a badge.
So next to the platform here is the crate of badges, which is hidden in a secret compartment under the floorboards.
Yep.
Does Bronson take the badge?
Yes, I
So
do
you
take the badge.
So you take
And
a
then
new badge.
And then I want to make sure that I put everything, like the floorboard, back and keep everything hidden, because they've sort of got a little bit of a puzzle going on here.
Great. So to your best ability and with great reverence towards the tradition and honor of this building, you try to reseal the badges and treat them with respect in a way as to not upset the restless spirits that are here. And you can exit. And Gator, anything you'd like to do before you go?
I'm not gonna go in for the spooky stuff. Gator's already had his life drained once, and he's not eager to have anything else happen. Like, we've got this far. Let's not make any stupid mistakes. Let's move out.
Okay, fair enough. Well, that takes us outside. And just to recap where we were outside, the rest of the party, being Rosa, Solomon, and Snugglecup, have been waiting near the gates.
Rosa's got a squirrel friend.
That's right. Rosa made friends with a little red squirrel. This one of those long-eared squirrels you'd see in, I think they're European mostly. But has made quick friends with Rosa. So Rosa, remind us what's the deal with this squirrel? What would you like to do in that regard?
Well, I kind of was just, looking out on the town and feeling a little sad, and this squirrel just kind of shows up, and I make friends with it. So now I have a squirrel. and you guys will not be juicing this squirrel.
So the squirrel's coming along. Now the squirrel's going to join the squad.
Yep, might as well. We need another young lion.
Would you like to name the squirrel now, or do you want to wait on that?
I might need to think about it. I joked for a bit about naming it Zenthral to have it all back together. So I'll think about it, but judging by the party's reaction, that might be the name I end up with.
Yeah, Lil Zinth.
Yep,
Fantastic.
lives on the scroll form.
So just a vibe check on what's going on outside. The winds have died down, and the chimes are no longer blowing around the dojo. The spirits seem to be settled in some respect there. So things are calming down. And Solomon, for whatever unease you had about the situation, when you see Bronson and Gator step out of the dojo, it really relieves some of that anxiety that you may or may not have had. So what would you like to do in this situation?
Well, I was just chilling, really. I mean, I see Rosa's got a new squirrel friend. I'll check in on that later, make sure that squirrel's all right. Yeah, I'm just hanging out. They got badge stuff to do. That's their prerogative at this point. I'm pretty sure that's pointless.
So I definitely want to debrief everybody on the situation.
Sure.
And talk to Rosa about what I gave up and what I got for it. So while I was in there, I had to give up 3 things. I had to give up my signet ring. I gave up the badge that I originally got for this dojo, and I also gave up the scripture of Moradin that I had picked up in the cathedral before it collapsed. Originally, I meant to give it to you as a way for, you know, the church to go on, but I think the trade might actually be less idiotic on my part, because I think I have a way to find your mom now.
Okay. I was gonna joke that you finally, found some sort of god or moral compass or something like that.
No. There's only blood for the blood god, skulls for the skull throne.
I was like, you found faith.
I didn't know that I was going to be giving up something permanently, and I think I chose poorly in selecting those items. And then I pull out the sword from my from my belt. I say, I can see the future in this, or I can get glimpses into the not the future. I can get glimpses into the past, and like sort of the far away things, or I can basically see truths through this sword. So
Wow.
I want to be. I thought about your mom, and I thought about my son, and I think that's why I kept the blade.
I think that was a fair enough trade.
I mean, if it really does that, that's actually pretty swanky. We could use that for a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I wanted to make sure that I had talked to you about it, because it was incredibly difficult for me to weigh this decision while I was in there. and I just didn't want that to be, lost in the greater, scheme of things.
The church can rebuild itself.
That's sort of what I thought. I thought to myself, if anybody's going to be the rock that this church is built on, it's going to be Rosa. She'll find a way to make this all work out. And so but I think that this sword could be more useful to us. And I mean, maybe one day we bring it back, you know, and once we're done with it. So I looked down at my belt and now I've got what, 6 tokens?
That's right. There are
So
6
I just start
badges
tapping.
now. Just
I
one
start
left to
tapping
go.
the empty one. Yep, I tap the empty slot. I say, I think we got to move on. Plus, we got to go meet up with Mistress Wolf.
I was gonna say, have you tested this sword, Bronson? You know, pointed at a Gator to be like, is he a real sailor?
Well.
Oh, you gotta do that, Bronson. You gotta do it right now.
I am calling you out, Gator.
So, apparently, I've
Tell the
extended it
truth.
for right now, and trying to figure out what went on here at this dojo. And I think, like the rest of the town, it's haunted, but it's haunted in a much better manner than the rest of the town.
Better get
For
your
sure.
affairs in order, Gator. We're coming for you tomorrow.
I
Yeah,
don't
we'll be
know.
able to. I think we'll be able to get a lot of really important information from this blade, and that it was just too important to give up.
I can't reach your shoulder, but I kind of, you know, put a hand like on the arm so that'd be like,
You need uppies?
no, I do not eat uppies. You made a very wise decision, Bronson.
No, I feel much better about it now. So. Also,
You know,
there was
Bronson
a
didn't
really
just
nasty looking shadow.
he didn't just give up a present. He gave up something very sentimental to himself as well. He's kind of glossing over that, but you know, that was a big deal to give up your own signet ring.
Yeah, but that's in Bronson's mind, that's not irreplaceable. You know, I mean, like I could display authority, you know, in over my house a million different ways, and one of them is by becoming the world heavyweight champion. You know, like what's a signet ring with a complete world title?
Yeah,
You know,
could totally make another signet ring.
exactly.
Whenever
I
you
didn't.
want.
The reason that Bronson got hung up on the book is that he doesn't know whether or not that's the only one in existence or not. You know, the other stuff was like material, but the book was like, you know, possibly irreplaceable, and so that's why he got hung up on that.
Sure.
I mean, to be fair, Bronson, this town's gonna need to be rebuilt. Who's to say it might not raise the banner of Celtigar?
Yeah.
Or whatever version of Celtigar you think fits.
Plus, I'll like look down at my hand, and you know, he's worn that ring for so long that he's got like a tan and like a little indentation on his finger. You know, like when you've worn your wedding ring for like years and then you take it off and it's just like already there. It's like that, so it's like that'll be a good reminder. You know.
All right. Well, it seems like we are settled up here at the dojo. While we are free in Suplex City, is there anywhere else or anything else that any member of the party would like to do before returning to the ship?
I feel like anything that's in terms of like, you know, last rites, burying the dead and stuff like that, it can wait. This is much more pressing. We need to find all the clerics and magic users of this town, and we got a capital to liberate and another badge to go get.
Yeah, we can't do all that physical work by ourselves. We're gonna need volunteers.
You know, you're absolutely right. That is so much stuff to do. We could honestly skip straight to the liberating the capital and freeing the kingdom. But, you know, we got all this other stuff to do.
I gotta
Gator
add
doesn't-
that short sword real
Gator
quick.
doesn't have any stops in town.
Yeah, so the specs on this short sword is that it is an unbreakable +2 short sword made of mithril and red magicite. Can be used once per day. Its ability can be used once per day.
Mm-hmm.
So stow that in your inventory.
Yep.
While we are on the matter, Rosa took a crown and a set of earrings from the necromancer. And are those going to be stowed away somewhere, or are they going to be worn? I should probably give you the specs on those as well. Wearing the crown increases your strength by 1 and your charisma by 1, and causes your eyes to glow purple. Wearing the earrings allows you to regain 1 expended spell slot up to a 3rd level once per day.
Ooh.
Pearls of power earrings.
It also makes you feel very.
In for some earrings.
It also makes you feel very happy.
Happy to have another spell slot. Absolutely.
Hey.
I look at Rosa and Gator. You know, I can pull off any look.
I was like, mostly I just want to throw that crown at Daddy's feet and be like, here lies your Nepo baby.
Mm-hmm.
That's fine by me. I'm less interested in the crown, but earrings I'm into.
What if both Gator and Solomon each get 1 earring?
To get half a spell slot back, rounded down.
I was going to say it would depend because they usually come as a set.
So, no, you guys can do what you want with
they
the
can get a
earrings.
spell slot back, but they have to do the fusion dance from Dragon Ball Z.
Sold.
I've been trying to think of how to like come up with an item that mimics the fusion dance. It would basically be like a wish spell, I guess. But anyway, moving on.
So the crown is being stowed away, and the earrings.
I mean, I'll give them to Gator or Solomon.
And since
Solomon,
Gator has
the fact-
said nothing,
Solomon, the fact that you can heal as well as do everything else you do means that you should have them.
I was gonna say, how far was the spell slot again?
3rd level?
That's significant.
Yeah.
My 3rd levels aren't amazing.
Up to a 3rd level spell.
Yeah. I mean, that gives me another Spirit Guardians, but I want nothing to do with any of this. Like I said, I just want to keep the crown. Basically, is something to study and something to be dramatic with.
Can I wear the crown?
Okay.
I'm so
I want it back.
Actually, yeah.
You're borrowing the crown. Yeah, it was
Actually,
like
I don't think that like just to be like the min maxer guy. I don't think that stacks with the other bonuses that I have anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But
No.
you would benefit from it,
It would only raise your strength to a maximum of 20 if that's what
right?
you're looking
Which
at.
I'm already at. Yeah.
Yeah, so it would not provide any benefit to your strength. It would give you +1 to your charisma, though.
Yeah. No, not too
Eh.
big of a deal.
I feel like that benefits our cleric more.
Yep.
Who says I'm wearing it? Anyway, we'll sort that out later. I definitely want to study it, but not wearing it currently. But yes, here, you want earrings?
We're gonna need every edge that we can.
Yes.
I want to wear nothing of the Nepo baby that destroyed my town.
That
That's
makes
true.
perfect sense.
Okay, so Solomon's in possession of the earrings?
Sounds like it.
Yeah,
And-
yeah.
Yes.
Rosa's in possession of the crown, or Bronson?
I'm in possession.
Okay. All right, so where to?
The boat.
To the boat. Okay, so unless there's any stops along the way, nobody has to pop a squat or take any pictures or anything before you get in the car and go back home. we can go ahead and make our way to the docks. We can signal for the ship to send a boat if there's not already. I think there's probably one way to.
Oh yeah, no, we were waiting. We were trying to see if there were any other survivors. We
If
sent
anybody
a
else would
message
show
out
up, yeah.
to and put the lantern on the dock to see if anybody else was alive, and to come to the docks. If nobody's there, then I say we roll out. But if people are there, then
Well,
we
let's
can at
have
least-
one of you roll an investigation check with advantage.
not me.
How is your investigation, Gator? Should it be me?
It's a 3,
something
not my
cool.
best, but not my worst.
Something clipboard.
Me too.
Was that a clipboard thing?
No.
Mm-mm.
I believe the clipboard's just history and deception.
Oh, that's right.
I don't have dice. And investigation 13.
13. Okay, so no, you don't see any other survivors, any other signs of life, other than some creatures, some birds are returning, some rodents, squirrels, and whatnot. However, you do notice on the ground, in front of some of the doorways of some of these buildings, there are coins, small coins that are blackened. This is a little odd. You've never seen anything like that before. You notice this. The question is, what do you do about it?
Well, maybe they were just scattered after some of the buildings here burned down. So I'm gonna go try to at least see if the blackness rubs off and see if they're gold coins or silver coins or copper coins.
Yeah, so you can squat in front of one of the doorways and pick up a coin or two. You see that they seem to be coins of similar size and material. They are made of copper, but they are tarnished and blackened. And they're concentrated around the doorways of several of these buildings. You can collect them if you like, with them being copper pieces. It would take quite a bit to accrue any real wealth here. So it's entirely up to you how long you want to spend collecting these coins. But you can see after picking them up that they've been tarnished on both sides, and some are more heavily tarnished than others.
Well, that's copper for you. I'll just pick up any that are along our way.
Okay. Well, let's have roll a d20 and a d4.
Two ones.
You rolled a 1 and a 1.
Yep.
All right. Well, you don't find as many as you thought you might. Some of them appear to be a little bit out of the way. The party's kind of walking ahead of you, but you do scoop up, a total of about 11 coins.
11 copper.
That's right, 11 copper, and they all have some form of let's have an Arcana check.
I'm just gonna add myself one silver piece.
Yep.
An Arcana check. All right, my die is hot tonight. That's gonna be a 6.
A 6. All right, so you can't make heads or tails, pardon the pun, of what's going on with these coins. But But
they're so tarnished, I can't tell which side's head and which side's tails.
that's right. I mean, it does seem unnatural. This isn't like a regular patina that's on a copper coin. I mean, it's blackened. It's a little icky, to be honest. You're not even sure that you could exchange these at a bank for real currency. They may tell you just to keep it, but it's curious.
Did they look like they were arranged or like just scattered?
Scattered.
Okay. Like they may have been like falling out of someone's pockets.
Well, they're
I
they are
get the impression that somebody was carrying some coin and they met a gruesome end, and now there's just some gunk. I'll wash it off. It'll be fine. Get some vinegar. I hear that works real good on the copper ones.
Well, you would think that if it were just isolated to in front of just one doorway, but there are multiple houses which have these coins scattered at the doorways.
Yeah, see, I'm wondering if this is like a pay the boatman type situation. That someone's come through here and then like offered rights or something. Or if something is just trudging through here leaking coins, you know. I don't know. I'm on board for investigating or not, but
I'm gonna be fully honest. Behind the screen here, as you were describing that, I was just like, you know what? For the gigs of it all, I'll roll an insight check. I rolled a natural one, so I'm just like, they're dirty ass coins.
Yeah. So you do feel a little rushed and a little confused and a little overwhelmed by everything that you've seen in the last 2 days. And you come to the conclusion that this is not something that you want to spend a lot of time on right now. You've got places to be, things to do, so best we get on the boat.
Yeah.
I can look into it tomorrow or later than that.
Sure.
Literally look into
if we even think about it.
Yep.
Okay, so we're gonna head back to the boat. Is that agreed?
I think so.
Yep.
That's unanimous.
Unanimous.
Yep.
There's the boat. There we go.
Take
Right,
that, DM's designed plans for the evening.
Well, once in a while, I plan a bunch of stuff and nobody chases it, and then other times I just throw you red herrings, and then you go, "Ooh, shiny."
Yep.
Okay, so Captain Gus is on the boat, and
Captain.
yeah, well,
Who made this guy captain?
he's the one that steers the ship, right?
That's not
That
the
doesn't
captain.
mean
That's
he's
the
the
pilot.
captain. That's the helmsman.
Yeah.
That
Okay.
is indeed the pilot.
I believe the captain of the
he's a
ship is
pilot. I should be happy with
one
that.
of the Celtigars, right?
We got captain by committee over here.
One of the
Captain
young Celts.
Gus.
Well, your cousins are actually on this boat as well.
I thought they separated off.
No, remember we were back at Whitestone, and they were in a separate room where they had a wonderful time.
Yeah.
They were able to obtain their badge. They got back on the ship with you guys, so they are here, and they had time to venture into town as well and grab up their own badge based on the information that you guys have provided. So they're in the loop here. They've been keeping it on the low, not making very much noise, but they're still around, as well as Pilot Gus and his 5 brothers. So the question is now, where do we go? Do we head to the final Gym City?
That's where we're going.
Let's send a message to Mistress Wolf, letting her know that we're on our way to Resort Town.
Yeah, absolutely. Anything in
See what she
particular
says.
you want to mention to her, or just, hey, see you soon, kiss.
I mean, that's generally Rosa's our POC for that stuff, so she could probably give her a debrief.
Yeah, I was looking through my notes because I feel like we told her we're gonna meet you at a specific territory.
Yeah, it's should be territory 5. What is it?
That's right.
Yeah,
was gonna
territory.
say-
Yeah, we're going the resort town in Territory 5. When we talked to her last, she said she couldn't or wouldn't be able to get out of there, and that the Room 6 network is destroyed.
Yeah,
And
I
so
remember that. Yeah.
we told her like, hey, we're gonna hit this one, Territory 3 first. She said, cool. Let me know when you're on your way here, and we'll coordinate.
Okay. Well, yeah, we can send her a message, give her a heads up, and if there's anything in particular you want to tell her, speak now or forever hold your peace. Otherwise, we can keep it very, very cash. Rosa?
Oh, I was gonna say, I would just keep it cash. Let her know that we're on our way to Territory 5,
Great.
or whichever one.
So she can send you a message back, just K, thumbs up emoji.
There you go.
So that's great. I think we can get rid of this ominous music now, because now we're headed to it's Solomon. Let's have you roll a history check here, and based on how well you do, will be the description of the next town we're headed to.
You got it. It doesn't count if it flies all the way out of the dice box. 17.
17. Yeah, so you're headed to the town of Rumble Reef, and Rumble Reef is a bit of a vacation town. It's a tourist destination. It's where everybody from the capital goes to when they want to slum it a little bit on white sands and little umbrellas in their drinks. It's beautiful
Wow.
this time of year. In fact, it's beautiful just about any time of year.
And the capital people think that's slumming it?
Yeah, they're a little spoiled. They're a little spoiled, which is something that has drawn great ire from the working class of within the kingdom. But for most, this is a destination that you only dream of going to. And for many on the King's Road, this is one of the most pleasurable and rewarding experiences, going to the town of Rumble Reef, which is a bit of a tropical paradise pirate town slash party town. It's great, and from what you've heard from Mistress Wolf,
No, it's Panama City Beach.
It has turned into a bit of a refugee town now for those who have fled other territories and are mustering outside of the capital. So so we can play some happy music now. Let's no more ominous music. We can go on a nice pleasure cruise here with Pilot Gus will take us all the way. Everybody can have get as much sleep as Vieira Goro will let you get before she wakes you up with the excuse me. It's at some point you think that maybe
I
the only
assume
two
I
words.
start burning spell slots on her, and I suggest that she keep her mouth shut for 8 hours.
Oh, use the power of suggestion to shoosh.
Shoosh, please.
Very well. So unless it's okay, so what are we gonna do? This is a multiple days journey. We will say 5 or 6 days journey from Suplex City to Rumble Reef on the SS Celtigar. That
I
gives
have
everybody
exactly 6 questions.
plenty of time to do things. So before we get to your questions, let's go around the table and find out what everybody wants to do during their downtime. I guess my first question would be to Solomon, and regarding the earrings. So you've taken those. Are you have those equipped now, or are you just stowing those away?
Nope. I went and gave myself the self pierce, and I am rocking those bad boys.
One in each ear, or both in the same?
Porque no los dos. depends on the day.
Yeah, we'll go one in each year, and we'll start with there. I might mix it up and get more later. Maybe piercings will be my new thing.
Okay.
Cousin Roman is definitely a 2 studs in 1 ear kind of fella.
Yeah, it's a pretty baller look if you ask me. But I think Solomon could pull it off either way. Very high charisma individual.
Well, are they studs or are they danglies?
They have dangly bits. Yeah. If you look at the channel that shows the quest items, you can see them on the former Lich Queen, Vanessa McDragon, and they're not pretty. I mean, they're a little ominous, if we're being honest. So they're for a man, they don't look completely out of sorts, but they are dangly. So
yeah, I go for the symmetrical, not the asymmetrical look.
Great. Okay.
Otherwise, you'll pull to the left.
All right. So
I'm little.
What is Solomon doing during these 5 days?
Well, once again, I suggest that our passenger be less annoying every day, and otherwise, in the meantime, I'm looking at my list of Snuggle Cup trainings here. You know what? We tried it a while back, but it didn't work out. So I think we're going to try to relearn defend. I want to teach Snuggle Cup to defend who I tell him to defend.
Okay, sure. Let's have an animal handling check.
Oh, yeah. That's a good one. And then math, 23.
Yeah, that'll do it. So Snug is all about defending Papa Solomon at this point. He is a good boy. He's a big boy too.
Well, like if I tell him go defend Gus, he'll like go run over and shove Gus's brother away from him.
Oh, I got you. You want so this is more of a defend that location or that.
Yeah, it's tactics, right?
Okay. Yeah, that's fine. We've kind of worked up to that, so I'm good with that. So go ahead and add that.
Did he ever learn ride? Like
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Or was it just kind of like by the seat of your pants that you jumped on him?
No, Solomon and Rosa, I think, have both been riding.
I say we did a little bit of practice on riding before we just launched straight into that. But
yeah, I mean they ran down some steps.
Come, fetch, attack, track, ride, focus, and defend.
Mm-hmm. Yep, all good there. Anything else? How is Solomon feeling right now about all of this? You know, this entire journey he's been on. Comparing the reasons that he got into this when he met the party in that courtyard in front of the Hardway, and where you are now. It's been quite the journey. How is he feeling these days?
I think Solomon's really focused on the end goal, which is, to... What's the word I'm looking for? to bring down this system of government.
Sure.
And hopefully create something better after that. He doesn't necessarily think that he's the person to make something better after that, so he's not really concerned with that. He knows what at least his intention is, to make sure that the broken system goes away. And if he thinks any further beyond that, I think he catches himself and stops. So that he doesn't have to think about it.
Sure.
Horse in front of the cart.
Well, I think, if there was a list of to-do items to achieve that, the downfall of the king has certainly facilitated that and has greased the wheels of progress here. So things are in flux, as it appears, and it's a very pivotal moment, which I'm sure Solomon is very well aware of at this moment.
Yeah, I mean, by my count, that means there's only like 4 more people who need to get out of the way, right?
Well, just a reminder, there are a couple different schools of thought on who should take over this newly formed government. Should it be the current world champion, which is Alfarius Cone, the Exalted One? Or is it the Iron Council, the four Iron Masters who...
So there's 5 people who need to get out of the way. Got it.
And there are others that say it should be a representative, a democratic republic, governed by members of each of the 7 territories in a united council within the capital. And then there's a final school of thought which believes that the king has an heir, and that heir is the rightful heir to that throne. So there's a lot of chatter and speculation about where things go from here.
Traditionally, it hasn't been a hereditary dynasty, though, right?
Let's have a history check.
No, didn't the guy who was king become king because he was one of the heroes who established the kingdom?
Gator can do a history check with his clipboard for advantage.
I got a 19.
I was there.
So 19 for Bronson wins.
Yeah, I mean, I would assume that most people will at least be familiar with the broad strokes.
Yeah, so many years ago, the story is that a group of adventurers, much like yourself, formed this government after overthrowing an evil force that was controlling the land. And under the rule of those 4 adventurers, that council, the kingdom lived through a period of prosperity and peace, without war and without many squabbles between territories. And that reign lasted for a very long time, half a century at least.
Mm.
But at this point, many of the people who were alive back then when it happened are deceased, with the exception of those who have long lifespans and very good memories. Now most of what you have to retell that story is in the form of statues and historical text, which many people don't have a lot of interest in. Most people tend to focus on learning how to fight and the honor and tradition of combat over history, knowledge, magic, and things of that nature. So, Solomon, I would think you would be privy to more of that information than anyone else in the group, because you're a gnome of a certain age. That's right.
I'm old. I've seen it all go down. And I gotta say, I am not for the system that is predicated on violence. So, of all those things that people say of what could come later, the Iron Council is going down. That's not the answer. That's not going to happen. The world champion, Alfarius Cone, he's Dark Order. He's going down. He's not going to be in charge of nothing. Democratic Republic sounds like a nice idea. I can't worry about that right now, because it's not my business, because these other people, they're going down.
Gator, you're a bit of a history buff as well, as long as there's a clipboard in your hand. How do you feel about all of this, the quest that you've been on? You were a bit of a sidekick to Bronson in the beginning. you still feel the same way? Have you grown into something else? And has your mission changed? Have you found a new purpose?
Gator's kind of like he's a little torn on the subject because he feels like he's been he's been particularly crafty with some of his spells. He feels like it hasn't been his illusion magic, which is his favorite, which is why he went down that path. His illusions haven't been particularly useful, so he kind of feels like, well, he's a good wizard. He's not going to be remembered for being an illusionist. He's just going to be a spellcaster. So, I mean, he's bummed about that, but he doesn't have time for that because he understands the seriousness of the mission. And what I was thinking also, maybe we can do that as an aside, but what about these other like badge seekers, like how much we can know about them? But yeah, if I could just do some history rolls while I'm clutching the clipboard.
Sure. What would you like to do a history check on at the moment?
How well known are these other badge seekers that are well on their way and possibly a threat to Bronson?
You're talking about the ones that he saw in his vision.
He shared that, right? Like, I just can't remember.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I didn't know how much he was like, he expounded on it, or it was like, I had a vision, period. Okay,
well, yeah, I mean, he shared with the group that who he had seen, and you're all very aware of who those figures are. It's no secret who many of the challengers are, especially the ones who have badges. So, if you're asking for knowledge of what they have achieved while on the King's Road, I mean, that's kind of public knowledge that I don't think you need to roll for. But if you're asking for knowledge beyond that, then we can do a history check. So you'll just have to let me know what exactly you are looking to remember about them.
Like how do they match up? Like, if they were to go toe to toe, one-on-one, like which one of them maybe is the biggest threat? Like,
sure.
As far as word of mouth goes.
Well, based on what you've seen in Lucha Town, Bronson has already fought Harvey Marks and embarrassed him, but they've made up, and now they have a bit of a camaraderie between the two of them. Am I accurately representing that, Bronson?
Yes.
Okay.
The Uneasy Alliance.
It doesn't even feel uneasy.
No, yeah. We had I think it was at Grapplebee's.
Yeah.
Like we had had a full on hey, I'm sorry. It's business. I was trying to make a name for it. Like we actually hashed it out.
Yeah.
All right, that feels like it was so many weeks ago. Okay.
It was.
It was months ago. In game, months ago. In real time, also months ago. But yeah, water under the bridge with Harvey Marks. And with Lexi Gold, there was never any real animosity there. She did have a match against Zinthral back in Lucha Town, which she also lost. But there was no animosity there. She didn't sick her python on anybody, and she.
Yeah, we don't have blood feuds going on with that group.
No.
The
That's kind
other
of what
one.
Yeah, who's gonna be the big Gator wants to know if somebody shows up at this point, who the biggest turncoat could be, if indeed there is one.
Okay,
you should be
sure.
thinking about One-Arm Sting.
So yeah, just to throw a couple names out there to let them marinate a little bit. In Harvey Marks's group, the one that is of any concern would be Rubu, who was in a brawl inside a small room under a castle.
Yeah, if I recall correctly, he and Little Mac both pretty much took us to the woodshed.
Yeah. So he's a bit of a wild card. Little Maxim has kind of followed you here and there. He also was present in Grapplemania at Timber Clash, and was able to survive that the explosion and the opening of that warp portal there. So tough guy, right? And in Bronson's vision was donning a belt that had multiple badges on it. So is he's a contender.
Yeah,
Right,
I'm
he's-
making a list of any wild cards or dark horses.
Well, yeah,
they're going on the list.
Of course, the wild cards are the hard way. Whoever's remaining from the hard way. There's no telling who may have survived. There were also some that escaped that were in the Hardway Wolf Pack that could be floating around. You've got the Blunderbuss Club, who was framed for a terrorist act at one point, and I believe was exonerated.
They were.
Which was found in one of the dirt sheet newspapers. Beyond that, pretty
Dark
much.
Order. Alfarius Cone.
Of course, and the Iron Masters, although they're not really King's Road contenders, they are defenders of their titles at this point.
Yeah, well, they're like, well, I was gonna say of the Darker Order, like they're always on they're always on the list. So like, yeah, I'm not necessarily especially looking out for them, but like the others that you mentioned specifically, yeah, I just wanted some names. So if they were to pop up, Gator would be like on alert.
Yeah, because I mean, ideally, once we've dealt with the immediate threat of the Darker Order trying to unmake reality, eventually it's going to come down to getting onto the Iron Council and then running the table against everybody. Because Bronson wants to be the absolute big bad king, of all wrestling. So I mean, all of that information is going to be crucial at some point.
Yeah,
undead and cosmic horror, I'm not trying to deal with. Like, I deal with the living.
Oh, so he's using this as escapism. He's just like, yeah, you know what? I can best use my time by remembering whose moves do what.
Well, that's the thing is, like, the last few encounters have been very not even like they've been very anti-illusion magic.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Well, yeah, you have threats coming from multiple directions, right? You've got the existing structure of the kingdom and the King's Road. You have the contenders who are on the road. You have the Darker Order, which exists beyond all law and order. You have the Hard Way gangs, and who knows how many other threats may exist that are out there. So
Exactly.
a lot to
That's
think
what
about.
you know about.
If Gator is someone who's prone to anxiety, this is going to be a long boat ride for him because there's a lot of unknowns at this point.
No, as always, he masks his anxiety and paranoia with false bravado.
Perfect.
Yes.
Lovely. Is there anything that he would like to do over the next 5 days? Anything constructive, let's say?
The only thing I really come up with is something you can't do until like amidst a level up, which was swap out spells. But yeah, no, that's Gator. Gator, I think, even though he feels called out the other day, he knows that if the sword really, truly works, that he shall be exonerated and doesn't have to do any extra flashy chores or anything aboard the ship to prove himself. He knows in his heart what he knows.
Well, let's homebrew this a little bit. You said you wanted to swap out some spells. You can go ahead and do that. I'll let you swap out up to 2 spells. And you can make
I would
those
think you'd have
changes.
time to retrain. Yeah.
You can make those changes on your own. I'm perfectly fine with that. Seeing as how things have changed, right? And would like you to have some utility.
A little bit.
All right, so let's circle
That
around.
being said, there are going to be a lot of humans, I would think, coming up.
This is true.
So I don't think, like, if you're thinking, out of character, that like, oh man, I'm playing kind of a less useful situation. I don't think that's necessarily going to be the case for long.
In D&D, there's always been specialist classes and there's been generalist classes. So it's just the risk you take when you play it versus not knowing what the campaign's going to be.
At this point, it's so ingrained in the character that like don't change it up now for utility's sake, because the character effect is so much better.
Yeah,
than-
well, so
but I understand it. Yeah.
We'll say I'll use this as an opportunity where I'm gonna scan the list while everybody else gets settled with their cruise details. But if I feel like I need to change something, I will.
Sure.
I just imagine that Gator's sitting in his bunk, and he's got a scroll of Fireball just unfurled in front of him, and he's like, God damn it. I gotta learn this one, don't I? He's like, finally, he cracks an evocation book that, like, when he opens the book, you can audibly hear the spine, make that noise for like the first time that you open a book. It's like, evocation 101, and it's like, oh God.
It's the only subject I got a D in. Okay, it's a sore subject. All right.
All right. Well, go ahead and do that at your own leisure. And let's go to Ceris. I'm sorry, Rosa. So Rosa, a lot has happened. A lot has happened since your return to Suplex City and the temple. We talked about this a little bit before, how Rosa's gone through a bit of a transformation. Tell us a little bit about how she's feeling right now.
It really has been a lot for Rosa. She expected to, have a easy homecoming, and found out that her entire town is pretty much decimated by, and not even just decimated, but decimated by, the Dark Order and, some necromancy. It's pretty blasphemous for her. So I know on the boat ride, she's been thinking a lot about, how her mother's doing and stuff like that, because she was expecting to see her. I've changed a bit by studying poisons, and, some of that kindness in her heart is giving way to vengeance. She wants to destroy those that destroyed her, basically her way of life. And during that time, I do want to. Is there anything like to further study the crown, or I might need to change up my spell list too here.
Yeah, you can absolutely do that during the course of 6 days.
Yeah. I probably need to make sure that certain ones are here.
Sure. Let's have an Arcana check on the crown.
Okay. Let's see again. Ooh, 26.
26. All right. So you have a lot of time here to think about what to do with this crown, and to think about what's happened already. And everybody on the ship gives you some space to process all of that on your own. So while you're alone, you're able to examine this crown, and you notice that the crown changes its shape and size to fit the person who is going to wear the crown. So it certainly has a magical property to it. However, in to fully understand how it works, you'll have to attune to it and wear the crown in order to fully understand what it does. Is that something that Rosa wants to do, or would that be something that would be blasphemous in some way, to a betrayal to her religion, to her mother, to everything that she believes in?
You know what would be a giant FU to Vance Big Dragon? Rolling
What's
up
that?
wearing his daughter's crown. Oh, you mean that dead bitch? She ain't real. She dead. I see you, she dead.
Oh. That is a tough choice because Rosa also wants knowledge, as much knowledge about the Dark Order and the enemy.
Yeah, I mean, there's something about placing this crown atop your head that feels like there's no going back, right? That this is, putting it on is like giving in some way, or, it either feels right or it feels wrong. So it's entirely your choice of whether or not this is something you want to wear, or if it's something that you refuse to do so. And I think that it'll say a lot about what your character does next.
Man, you had to put the tough question on the spot there.
I mean, you can say, I'm just going to sit on it for a while.
Okay.
You can do that as well. But it certainly tempts you,
Mm-hmm.
Like,
forbidden knowledge, yeah.
Rosa is not royalty. And this is a magnificent looking crown. I mean, under other circumstances, this would be a very magnificent is the best word I can come up with. But a very gaudy, exuberant, flashy piece of jewelry to wear. However, that there's
Rosa's just not about that kind of ego trip.
Exactly. Yeah, that is the thing. Like, I know that everybody else has their ambitions for the Iron Council and the Capitol and all that. I'm just along for the ride. I was pretty much your kind of hired healer that decided to stay on when given the choice.
It is tempting, though, right? Rosa has considered, what does it mean for me to wear this thing? Like, it has sized itself for my head. It wants to be on my head. Is that who I am? And that's something that she can struggle with for the next 5 days if she likes.
I think so. You can't see it, but I'm making this like this kind of face.
Sure. No. There is certainly
it's like
something about it.
Rosa is being. Oh, go ahead.
There's something about it that is it's a moral dilemma, right? In the same way that Bronson had to decide over, make the choice between the offerings or the gift. You have to do the same thing in the situation, and we had to do the same thing with the earrings. Is the power that it bestows worth what it symbolizes?
Guess that's up to Solomon, right? Who's wearing those.
Already rocking them. Yep.
Yeah.
Well, also Rosa's being forged into an instrument of vengeance at this point. Like, she was a bystander, and then it seems like at every turn, things are becoming more and more personal for her in terms of the damage that's being done and the stakes that are being dangled. I mean, like, it's not just, oh, I'm with this group of warriors trying to hit the King's Road. Now it's like, well, the Darker Order's been revealed. It's like you've gone from like preserving the health and welfare of all of our enemy combatants to seeing basically like otherworldly beings that want to unmake your reality and have now personally, insultingly destroyed your very specific church and hometown. Where it's like, I could see it becoming do I become a divine tool of vengeance? And does that make me a bad person if I lean into that? Because, I mean, like, you becoming the, literal arm of retribution is not necessarily a selfish or negative thing. It's just, will you manage to not be consumed by that versus, letting it become your entire identity?
And it's becoming much harder. It really is. So
And
Oh,
I
that
think
was
the
well put.
crown sort of represents that. Like, do you become the divine weapon, or do you continue to try to hold on to being just Rosa? You know?
Rosa, it's like, no, Bronson, they're just babies. Yes.
Yeah, what is
Yeah.
what does your squirrel friend think about all of this?
Chirp,
Yeah, I
chirp,
need to.
chirp, 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 chirpity.
Can I communicate with it in any sort of way?
Nope.
I mean, not in any way that it'll understand you.
Maybe I can teach
you
it
can
to read and
threaten
write.
it. It probably understands physical threats, but beyond that,
What do
Aw.
you know about gnomes?
They can speak with small critters.
I'm a forest gnome, in fact.
okay,
I do indeed have that ability.
okay.
Wait a second. You've had the ability to literally talk to Snugglecup this entire time. We found him in a forest.
I could only talk to him for like the first
burrowing,
few weeks before he was no longer a small creature.
Yeah, that's true.
And I think it technically has to be like those type of small woodland
Like
creatures, like
Disney
squirrels,
princess
like
creatures,
moles.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I can
like-
talk to like birds and rodents.
We just
Man,
put get a mouse costume.
I'm like, I can talk to the squirrel. Squirrel, I don't know if they'll understand me, or I'll understand it, but
Yeah,
my
I mean-
squirrel is my tiny little therapist, and I tell it about its namesake. I think it's officially going to be named Zenthral or Zenthral 2.
Zenthal.
So I just pictured in my head like you like sitting on like reclined on a couch and like the squirrel's just kind of like nodding while it's eating a nut and everything like that, and then you just like are like, I'm gonna go ahead and just roll over and take a nap, and then the squirrel runs out onto the deck and sees Solomon and just explains how anxious you're making him. Like, oh my god, I gotta listen to this girl's problems. Like, I don't know how to fix her. He's like, yeah, you know.
He skips
I'm sure-
Solomon and he just jumps off the side of the boat.
I'm sure at some point in time during this thing, I came across the squirrel and went, "Hey, how's it going, squirrel?"
Yeah, I mean, the squirrel, whose name is not Zenthral 2. I'm not even sure squirrels have names, but is primarily concerned with eating most of the time and not being killed. I think that's what squirrels talk, and world domination. I mean,
Probably staying away from the giant lion.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Snug is definitely looking at the squirrel as a snack, right? But yeah, so you can talk with the squirrel, but the squirrel is driven by primal desires: survival, food, sleep, safety, that sort of thing.
Gonna make him a nice little, bed, maybe out of a drawer or something like that. Put some soft blanket in it or something like that.
Oh
Give
yeah,
him
as long as you're
place.
providing food, the squirrel has an affinity towards you.
Let's just
for
put him
sure.
inside the puzzle box. He'll never get out there.
You're not allowed to
We haven't even opened.
handle Zenthral 2.
Okay, so Bronson, let's take this full circle here. So speaking of moral dilemmas and
Yeah, that was
trying to
actually
figure
going to
out-
segue pretty easily. Dealing with Rosa, like seeing that she's like stressed out and overthinking a lot of this. At some point, I want to walk up to her and be like, let's at least find out where your mom is and where
Yeah.
the clerics are.
yeah, I mean, you have possession of this short sword, but it
Mhm.
doesn't mean that you're the only one that can use it, right? You
Well,
are
I'm-
attuned to it, and
Right.
you don't necessarily have to be the one that carries it. You were the one who found it. So
True.
it's entirely up to you whether you would like to be the one to use it or whether or not visions should be seen by somebody else. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
you can
absolutely.
decide who asks the question, who sees the vision.
Gotcha. Yeah, I'll absolutely offer it up to Rosa to see if for each one that's specific to each. If we've got questions that each person needs to have answered, then
Yeah. So
I have about 7 questions that I think that would be good for during this week.
I'll give the party 5 days of travel between towns. That'll give you 5 separate questions that can be asked, and you can decide how you want to divvy those up between the party.
All right. Gator, you get a reprieve because that was way lower on my priority list. No, yeah, it was number 4 on my list of stuff that I thought of, but it's like number 7 in terms of like what we should actually be asking. But I literally wrote down question number 4: what's Gator's deal? So yeah, first one definitely is where's Rosa's mom?
And who is going to ask that question?
Let's let Rosa do that.
Yep, Rosa, you good with that?
Yeah, I'm good with that.
Okay, so you attune yourself to the short sword on one of the first days of this trip, because this is probably the most important question, right?
Mm-hmm.
And nobody would want to prevent you from finding out as soon as possible. So by using the sight beyond sight effect of this sword, you're able to see where your mother was taken from the temple within Suplex City once Vanessa McDragon came to the town, and she rose to power very quickly within the town. People were disappearing, and then there was a rounding up of the magic users within the town, including your mother. She was taken away on a ship, and you're seeing this in glimpses where she's on a ship huddled together with many magic users, their magical powers are being suppressed in some way. They're taken to the capital city, and they're being confined within some type of cell within the city, something that's caged on 5 sides. And there are many magic users within that cage. Some of them are pulled out from time to time and don't return, while others are just being kept there. So it is a vision of imprisonment, of kidnapping, and somewhat of hope that your mother is still alive.
Yeah, didn't see her die.
So here's a question about the sword visions. It's basically just a vision, right? It's not like some way that I can kind of like, in that vision, maybe touch my mother's mind or be like, hi.
Yeah,
damn.
it's basically just like you're watching the security footage, through the lens.
It's glimpses over time. It is a montage of that tells a story as you connect those dots.
But everything that we've been shown by the sword so far seems to be not manipulated or completely fabricated. Like we have so far we've not been led to believe that it's fake.
Well, that's hard to say. I mean, the information that was revealed to you about the badge in Suplex City seemed to be reliable, but there's no way to tell whether or not this is true or this is untrue.
Well, we're taking it on face value.
All right, so that's one down.
And
what's
I'll
next?
thank Bronson for that. So give it back to him and be like, thank you.
Is that something that Rosa shares with the group or keeps for herself?
No, I'll totally share that with the group.
Okay.
Question number 2.
Yes.
Were you done, Rosa?
I am done.
Okay. Question number 2 is specifically looking for the whereabouts of my son.
Great. So the whereabouts of your son who was named Norris, we know because Alicine had mentioned that, as well as her husband Bannon, I believe. when you met at Ironvale. Said that her son had been given up for adoption and had been sent to the capital city and was housed within an orphanage called the Smoky Mountain Orphanage, I believe it was. And that seems to remain true. You see these glimpses of him within an orphanage within the capital city. This is a magnificent city, and you see this time lapse of him growing, sharing some of the same traits that you do, some of your physical features.
Big fangs.
Greenish skin, yes, but not quite as orc-like as you. Just a mix of both his father's and his mother's features.
Court orc.
But certainly a little bit larger than some of the other children in the orphanage. And as these visions continue, you see things in the capital become more and more dangerous. That some of the children are plucked from the orphanage at different times, and fears is growing amongst the folks running the orphanage. And Norris now, who is, what would this be, 6 or 7 years old? Is that, I forget the time.
Yeah, I think he's probably about 5 or, probably closer to 6 now.
Right, so at that age, while still very much dependent on others, he's kind of been forced to mature a little bit quicker than he probably should. And he, in these glimpses, you see that he is defiant and strong-willed, and has a bit of a temper at times, but is holed up in this orphanage, and is hiding away from those who are running the capital at this time.
Gotcha. He's in need of assistance. Question the third.
Question 3.
What is with those coins? I'm gonna let Solomon. Actually, I tell you what. I'm gonna basically pass the sword around.
Yeah.
Rosa got her question. I got my question. If anybody else has anything pressing, feel free to try to get your answers.
Gator isn't seeking any truths. Only lies.
Okay.
If there's a spare truth out there, I'd take one.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, go ahead, Solomon.
I want to know Bret Hart's true motivation or end goal. Like, does he want to be in charge? Does he want to be president of the Republic? Or the Hearth Foundation, what's the true end goal?
Okay, sure. So you look into Bret Harth, and upon this timeline you see of Bret is that he's not the first in the Hearth Foundation that go by his name. There have been many that have the surname of Harth, and he is this was something that he was born into, having family that were already aligned to it. So his loyalty to that cause goes deeper than any rebellion against authority. It is by blood. He's bound to it by blood. So he would literally die for this cause. And in the later visions, you find that he does, in fact, fall for this cause, as he is met with an early demise at the hands of those in the capital, as one of the sects of the Hearth Foundation is discovered and is completely dispatched by the capital and their forces. So while Bret Hart's intentions were questioned all along, and his forwardness seemed to be to cause you suspicion, his intentions seemed to be pure. If there was any intention for him to abuse power or to take hold, that has come to an end as he has been defeated.
All right. Well, a little bittersweet because I learned that he wasn't so bad, but at the same time, like smug ass. I'm glad.
Gator thinks of a question, but I feel like it's appropriate for like the last question we're gonna ask. So if anybody else had anything, please go ahead.
So the one-armed figure with the baseball bat,
Oh,
I have an inkling of who that might be, and I want to
FSD?
see. Yeah, I want to see who it is. I want
my
to.
God.
Want to get some info
No.
on what
Stop.
happened to them since Timber Clash, because I have a feeling that it's a certain monk who decided to become Batman for a little bit and got his arm torn off.
Yeah, but he didn't have no arms. I mean, like, like the joke, like, do you even do arm day? Anyway.
Yeah, so you look into this vision of this individual with the mask, and what you see is a montage of different scenes, and it is the same individual putting on one mask after another. Right? It is the white mask. There's a black mask. There's a green mask, a blue mask, a red mask. And each time this individual pulls off the mask, their facial features are hidden. But if it
But
were
does
just
he
for
have
that,
a really bad tattoo?
if it were just left to that, the identity of that person would not be revealed to you. However, the mask itself is one that you do recognize, and it is the mask that was given to Zinthral in Lucha Lucha Town by Lady Potentia within that mask shop. It was the mask of Zinthral's father, and the mask that he wore for many weeks. It is the mask that Rosa had performed an exorcism on so that he could remove that mask. And this is the same individual wearing the mask every time.
Yeah, I'm gonna let the group know that one. Be like, I'm about 95% sure the Zenth is alive and on the King's Road, and he looks dour.
Yeah, you've noticed with each new mask that he takes on, his body is undergoing a bit of a transformation. This arm almost seems alien, right? So unlike what you had seen before. Hard to believe it's the same person, but then you'll see mannerisms that remind you so much of how he used to carry himself. And just as you think that this couldn't be the same person, you see glimpses where you go, that's got to be him. It's got to be
Right. Jumping on stuff unnecessarily. I love it. I miss it.
So, Gator, you said you had a final question.
Yeah, if we're down to the final one.
Yeah.
Yeah, this could be.
All right. My thought was, we know all about Vince McDragon, right? Didn't Vanessa go in about the family?
She's revealed some things about her father, yeah.
Okay, so do we have the name? Because I feel like the name would be like
Well, yeah, the name Vance McDragon is well known as the owner of Grapplemania. Pretty well known as a very influential individual in the kingdom.
That seems like it makes it a lot easier because being a publicly known individual makes him like very like it's the equivalent of like when your records are basically very available unless you go to like really creepy means, but mostly your public records available if you run for office.
Yeah, he's a known quantity.
Yeah, so
At least on face value, like maybe not as the sinister mind behind Dark Order, in terms of like a widespread knowledge, but we know that for sure.
So what I'm wondering is, since like he's likely like a large string puller, if not completely top of the top, and possibly the biggest threat overall, not even just to the King's Road, but to our lives in general. Does Vance McDragon have any weaknesses that we can exploit? If not necessarily something that would cripple him, something that would at least make him flinch, because Gator knows that in a moment he can take advantage. So if he can even make that guy flinch, if he can see any moment of weakness in him that he might be able to like call him out on, or like recreate with magic, or like his illusions, maybe he could recreate a situation.
Sure. Well, you see glimpses of the things that really motivate him. His main purpose in life, not just financial success, but having power over other people, being able to control their destinies, and that constant thirst for more power, for more control, has led him down this dark path. Any threat to that power, any threat to his financial status, or to his own personal kingdom, is something that shakes him and causes him to be insecure. And you see glimpses of him killing his own top lieutenants in those efforts. Anybody who has came up as a threat or a potential rival, he's destroyed. And at first, you see him do this through criminal acts, right? By ordering people to torture and to eliminate people. But later in life, you see him take on an even more sinister role as he makes a deal with an entity to gain magical powers. While the identity of that entity is not clear to you, it is clear that there is something that a greater power has given him these extraordinary abilities to cause even more pain and disruption within the kingdom. So to sever that bond between him and his patron would be something that would absolutely be a threat to him, as well as bringing down his empire of connections, wealth, and people would also diminish him.
Gator hands the sword back to Bronson, stumbles over to the side, and he vomits out of hate for this man. And he vomits again, and then he wipes his mouth and he says, we gotta get this guy. This is a bad guy.
Yep.
If we don't do something, I don't know if anybody else will be able to.
I think we all vomit a little bit.
Yeah, I think we're all on we're all on sort of the same page in terms of all roads lead to the capital, and that we're gonna have to basically get highly involved in a very dangerous situation.
Well, this particular road we're on doesn't take us to the capital. It takes us to Rumble Reef. So let's on new song here. And let's paint the scene here. The picture of Rumble Reef, it is just like Solomon remembers it. Well, almost like Solomon Scribbles remembers it. You know, and you pull into the harbor of Rumble Reef early in the morning, just as the sun is rising, over this makeshift refugee town, which is called Rumble Reef. It is the gym city of Territory 5. It is a tropical paradise, if you will, with palm trees swaying in the breeze, waves gently crashing against white sands, salty mist filling the air, and friendly pigs swimming in the water and sunning on the beach. It really is a quite pleasant place. There are many ships that are docked up, some inside the harbor, others outside the harbor and anchored. You can tell that the population of this town has really swelled in recent days, but it appears to be a neutral town based on what you can see. The capital's control is not present here. There are no capital ships. All of those are most likely back at the capital, defending it from any type of invasion. There are fishermen boats everywhere, and there are vendors set up all throughout the docks. In fact, there are many docks in this town. You know what? I have a great picture. Let's see if we can like the song. Here we go. Let's hop it. Ta-da! Okay, can we see that okay?
Yeah.
Okay, so...
What was the name of this town one more time?
Name of the town is Rumble Reef.
Rumble Reef, that's right.
So yeah, it's a tropical town. It's well stocked. There are vendors everywhere setting up their stalls for the early wave of business. Some of the stalls are a little more weathered. They've been here quite a while. Others are new, and many of them with goods directly from the capital. Others with fruit and produce from the local areas. There's all manner of exotic animals, magical items, all sorts of things here. Let's see, and so your pilot. That is Pilot Gus, not a captain, He's your driver for this evening. He suggests that you drop anchor in the harbor and that you take a boat into Rumble Reef. Here's a zoom out picture of the town. So, what does the party do?
Let's message Mistress Wolf. Let her know we're here, and find out where we want to meet up with her, because I think that's probably priority number one.
Right.
Gator wouldn't mind moving in here. This is actually his kind of jam.
Yeah, so Rosa, how does this message go?
We have arrived. Where do we meet?
All right, so just short and sweet. You send the message, and you receive a response fairly quickly. And the message is, Risky Rabbit, where else?
I was going to say, probably the Risky Rabbit, but still, hey, good to confirm that. That way we don't just wander in and, like, have to deal with some maitre d' who's, like, super horny for Gator this time.
So you can drop anchor here and take a boat in. Franco and Big Varro cannot wait to get off of this boat. They say, well, why don't we go first and check out, just make sure it's safe for you guys.
That's fine, but you got to take Vicky Goro with you.
Oh, yeah, we can take Vieira with us. Let's just keep her quiet. And
Solomon, you should absolutely remove the suggestion spell.
Oh, I didn't
as
cast
soon as
it
they
this
get out of
morning.
audio, as soon as they get out of audio range, just like.
Yeah, so they board the boat to
Tender boat, yeah.
to go into town. Just the three of them. And Solomon, that suggestion spell, do you keep that going, or do you remove it as
No,
Bronson
I
requested?
didn't cast it today so that I would have all of my capability if anything happened in town.
All right, so halfway into the harbor, you see Varro just pick up Viera and throw her overboard, and then toss something, a flotation device to her, and then as they continue to paddle, he waves goodbye to her, and she's still shouting something at him, which you can't make out from where you are, but you can imagine how that conversation went. And she seems to be fine, just floating there. I'm sure the tide will bring her in eventually. Nobody feels particularly panicked to go help her out. She's probably fine.
This kind of behavior apparently runs in my family.
So there, that is the boat. How does the party plan on getting into town?
Oh, we only have one boat?
I don't know. How many boats do we usually have on a pirate ship?
At this point, it's like, oh yeah, I guess we should just go ahead and roll up to the dock. We'll pop off, and then Gus and them can drop anchor out in the bay, like out in the harbor like we normally do.
For expediency, we're going to say there's a second boat, and that everybody can hop in it.
All right, and then we just row right past. Excuse me.
Yeah, so you can hear from the distance, "Excuse me! Excuse me! Pick me up!"
Yeah, so when we get close to her, I want to slow down and be like, "Can you swim?" And then if she's like, "Yeah," then I'll be like, "All right, bye." As long as she's not in danger, it's fine.
That's kind of subjective, isn't it?
I heard there's jellyfish and sometimes there's sharks in the reef, so you should probably start swimming towards the harbor. Bye.
Right? All right, so you pull into town, and it's just as we showed it before. This is a typical Caribbean pirate type town with all sorts of different structures here. There is one more fortified structure that stands higher than the rest of the town. You assume that is some type of government building or important location for whatever town warden exists here. But that's not of your concern, because Mistress Wolf had said risky rabbit. So that's what we're on the lookout for. Once at the port here with Big Varro and is it Marco?
Franco.
Damn it. Franco Marco standing here. What does the party do?
I give Varro a high five.
Yeah, he's down to clown. He is. This is definitely his kind of vibe. He's very excited to be here, and Varro goes pretty hard in situations like this. So he seems eager. He gives you the old line that you can't drink all day if you don't start right away. So he is ready to walk away unless anybody stops him.
Yeah, he's all good. We got lion business.
Yep. Okay. Well, he's gone then. Franco and Big Varro, they scoot away to whatever clandestine business that they're going to hang out in, and that leaves the young lions here on the docks. So, Solomon, let's have a history check from you.
6.
6. Okay. Well, this isn't at all like you remember it. And that's evident by just how many people here appear to be refugees. I mean, there are a lot more people in this town than you remember. And they are... Some folks are sleeping outside. The ones that are awake are, the streets are crowded. There are makeshift shelters set up everywhere. There are tents set up in other places, hammocks between any set of trees that you can find. I mean, they are really supporting a pretty large population here, different from what you remember. So you don't, in fact, remember where to find the risky rabbit, but it has to be close.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've been here. And everything looks different now. I don't know. Why do we need to talk to Mistress Wolf again? The portal doesn't work. What benefit is she? Never mind. Let's find the rabbit. Somebody else lead the way.
Sure.
Start walking.
So let's have a survival check from whoever's navigating the party.
From not Gator.
I got it. 8.
He finds the beer, of course.
So it takes you a long time to find the risky rabbit. In fact, you can't find it. And you start to wonder if maybe you should just send another message to Mistress Wolf to point you in the right direction.
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay, Rosa, you're good with that?
I suppose so. Now I'm sitting here like, is it a trap?
Yeah,
so anyway.
You send the message to Mistress Wolf, and she gives you, abbreviated MapQuest directions. You walk. You're gonna walk a little bit till you see a blue shack, and then turn right, and you're gonna go for a while till you see, this thing or that thing. And
dude, just tell us like 5th and Main.
Yeah. So you do see a few things as you're looking for these landmarks. You notice that this town is full of exotic animals, right? We already knew about the wild pigs that swim in the water and kind of hang out around the town. And some of them kind of follow you around as well. But there's more than just pigs. There's also capybara that are kind of intermingled in the town, and some of these folks keep them as pets. They're pretty domesticated, and some of them have little hats on, and they're kind of dressed up a certain way, so seem to be pretty friendly. And you even see someone has a pygmy hippo, and it is the cutest thing you ever seen.
Oh no!
Oh my god!
Oh no!
It is chaos.
And the pygmy hippo is on sale for an extravagant price, but it comes with free barding.
That's good.
It is good.
The barding is also cursed. That's bad.
But the sign with the pygmy hippo just says market price.
Oh, we'll just mark it down to whatever we want.
Right.
I was going to say, I was going to just mark it like 10 cents.
So, Rosa, you are distracted by that. And then at that point, you do
also,
see...
that assumes that it's going to be eaten. Just FYI,
no.
I've only seen that at butcher shops and fish markets.
Yeah, so you're pondering that, like, I'm not sure what that means. And then one of your party sees the sign for the risky rabbit. And this is a tropical style risky rabbit. It's still a rabbit, right? In fact, you do also see some caged rabbits for sale, or for to eat, or to as a companion. No questions asked there.
I'm just picturing bunny ears over 2 giant coconuts.
So yeah, you do find the risky rabbit. Would you like to enter?
I mean, I think we're probably gonna have to like corral Rosa. Like, I have to get my kids out of the damn Target toy aisle
Right.
at this point.
I was gonna say, if anything, Bronson should be the one that opens most, if not all, doors.
What does market price mean? No, I know what it means, like, in real life, but character-wise, I'm like, hey guys, what does market price mean?
It means you're about to pay out the ass for that thing.
It means that they're gonna make up whatever they
Solomon, money
feel like.
bags.
They're gonna size us up, whoever seems like they're gonna pay, and they're gonna make up whatever they think we might be willing to pay. But it's gonna be a ripoff no matter what, and I could probably talk them down.
At least nobody told me it's like pricing lobsters and stuff like that.
No, yeah, that's sad.
All right, so the Risky Rabbit itself is a different style than the other Risky Rabbits that you've seen. This is more of an open air type layout, like a beach type bar,
Yep.
you know, where it's
Tiki bar vibe.
like a tiki bar, yeah, very much like a tiki bar with hookers, you know.
I mean, that's all tiki bars, right?
Yeah,
Or are we just not going to the same tiki bars?
and there are piers that come off the backside of this thing and hang over the water. There's one particular pier that has, like, what is it called? A pagoda or a
Pergola.
pergola, sure.
Yep.
Gazebo, if you will,
Mm-hmm.
at the end of this pier. And there are a few of these private cabanas that kind of spider off of the main area, and they have, you know, privacy mosquito nets that can be dropped down to give some privacy there. In one of these particular cabanas, you see the distinct bright red hair that you could tell from anywhere, especially you, Rosa. You know Mistress Wolf, and you could recognize that hair anywhere. So you are approached by one of the hostesses, who greets the party as you first enter. Says, "Welcome to the Risky Rabbit. How may we serve you today?"
I guess I could like wave my tiny little arm in the direction of Mistress Wolf, be like, hello. Well, say hello to the hostess and be like, you can't see me, but I'm like waving my arm, like, you know, like, ah.
We're here to talk to the proprietor. We're expected.
Okay, so she turns her head to look in that direction, and it does catch the eye of Mistress Wolf as she stands up and she waves she gestures to allow you to pass and send you over. And the hostess says, "Right this way, Mistress Wolf's been expecting you. Please let us know what we can provide for you to make your stay more comfortable." And she escorts you out over one of these piers to this private area, which has a bar set up on the right side. It has a few tables, seats wrapping around, and there are 3 women seated here in these seats. Some of you recognize some of them, and others do not.
Mm-hmm.
So let's start with there is this woman, Mistress Wolf. Next to her is a younger woman who looks oddly familiar, but you can't put your finger on it. And then there is a shorter, stout woman who Solomon recognizes, but nobody else. And upon seeing Solomon, she jumps to her feet and goes over to greet him. Of course, this is the sharp-eyed woman known as Dombey and Grecken. This is an old friend of Solomon's, one who he owes a favor
I
to.
haven't seen her since Lucha Town.
She was sitting with Mistress Wolf?
That's right. She says, "You've
Strange
made it.
photos.
We've been waiting for you." She paces slowly, like
We is news. How long has this been an association?
She says, "Things have changed.
Necessity.
There is us and them at this point, and Candace here is one of us. She's going to help us, and I need you to trust me on that."
Candace. A first name basis. Dombey, look at you.
That's right. See, I know people. I have connections. You know, we've all been busy. King's Road is great, but the gears have to keep turning. So she's sizing up everybody. Of course, she knows Solomon, and you know they go way back. She's not dressed like most of the people at the Risky Rabbit. She's dressed very modestly, and her boots gently thud as she kind of clops over these creaky floorboards. And Solomon, it's almost as if she's measuring to see if they're worthy of being with you, right?
These are the young lions. You remember from Lucha Town? We've gone all the way.
Oh, of
at
course.
This point.
Of course, I've heard so much, and it's quite the pleasure, I'm sure. Of course. You need no introduction. Everybody knows the Young Lions, the Bronson Celtigar, the so many titles, I can't even remember them all. Triple G.
Neither could I at this point.
Golden Gary. I'm gonna nail this one day. It's Gator Gary Golden.
There we go.
There we go. There we go. And of course, we've got the benevolent Rosa Blackthorn. And it looks like you're missing one. Young Lions down one. But
we replaced him with an actual lion.
I see that, and he looks like such the good boy. He is
a good boy.
You'll have to forgive me if I keep my distance. I've had experiences with large animals before, and it's best to just, you know. So.
Oh, very, very good boy. You've got nothing to worry about, Domry.
Perfect. So let me just get right to the point. Solomon, Young Lions, we need your help. We need your help. And you need...
You've been throwing around "we" a lot. So you're going to need to be more specific.
What? In this case, "we" refers to...
humanity.
To all of those who oppose the current regime within the capital. It almost feels dangerous to even say their names, but you know who we speak of.
Yeah, the D.O.
That's right. That's right. We know you want to get revenge. We know that you want to be within the capital and that you are our best shot of stopping them. Well, we are your best shot at getting into the capital. The DO's grip on the capital tightens every day, and if we have any hope of overthrowing them, we need to hit them where it hurts. We need to do it soon, and we need a force that's going to strike like a hammer. Besides, Solomon, you do owe me a favor, and I'm collecting. It's I'm
Oh.
calling it in.
You've been holding on to that for years, and you're bringing it in for revolution?
Well, that's why we joined in the first place. The Hearth Foundation's been waiting a long time to strike the capital, and now's the time. The king is dead, leadership's in question, and McDragon has his eyes on the throne, but he has no claim to it. And now the world champions involved, the Iron Masters, we have to stop them before they seize power permanently. But of course, now you have this magical dome around the city. And
Yeah, we saw that.
I don't think I need to remind you of how ironic it is that a kingdom that once banned and looked down upon the use of magic is now using it to control everything. So we need to find a way to get in, because right now nobody goes in or goes out. And that's why I came to Mistress Wolf. So she her face is very determined. She says, "This is complicated. So one of you might want to write this down, but I'll explain how this is going to work."
Room 6.
What? We're going to get there. We're going to get there. Yes, room 6 is our key to getting there, but room 6 is not working. What a lovely thing it is, right? Have you had the pleasure of using room 6 before?
Yeah.
Yeah,
For a minute.
Yeah.
we
So
did.
it's that's been a well-guarded secret for quite a long time. But we need to find. There is a way to reactivate it. McDragon's been stockpiling magic items for a long time, stealing them from adventurers and from challengers all over the world, using the Gabi lobby to steal items from people, and using their agents to hijack shipments of magicite for a long time. They've been disarming the people and trying to get us to focus on fighting each other in these combat tournaments just so they can collect all the magic material. Well, now they've taken things a step farther and they've started enslaving magic users and using them as their own personal battery of dark magic. That's what's keeping this dome going. If we can get inside the dome and free the magic users, we can bring the dome down and we can strike. That's the key to breaking McDragon's power. And more importantly, that's the key to freeing innocent people. And it's what we need to do. We need to get around that dome. Mistress Wolf knows how. So Mistress Wolf does step up to speak. And she is, she has a smirk on her face and a sharp tongue. She's leaning casually against the bar with her bosom resting on the countertop, her arms extended, palms down on that countertop. She has a mischievous look on her face. She says, "Room number 6. You may have noticed while in the oubliette that there's also a room number 6 in the Capitol, and the rooms aren't exactly powered up right now. Well, it was McDragon and the Darker Order who shut it down. They took the battery away that was charging all of these rooms. That battery, which was composed of magicite. That's the key to making it work. Now, how all of that came together is not really my field of expertise. I kind of excel in other areas of business.
I pay people to know this kind of stuff for me.
That's right. So I don't know how magicite works, but those precious little stones do some pretty big things. They make pretty powerful items. So powerful, in fact, that the original founders of Kafabia, including King Jerry himself, God rest his soul,
What?
My phone.
Oh, okay.
King Jerry immediately outlawed magic altogether because of what the magicite could do. As soon as they took power, they wanted to bring peace to the kingdom, and putting magic in the wrong hands would destabilize everything that they had worked so hard to build. They wanted all of us so focused on punching each other in the face that we ignored all the corruption and all the class structure that really put us in the situations that we're in now. So the capital became this utopia of law and order, and all the little boys and girls were given a golden ticket and a promise that if they worked hard enough, that one day they could live there too. That's not how things worked out. People like me and like you ended up making places like the Risky Rabbit here. And we kept experimenting with magic anyway, regardless of what they told us we were allowed to do. Capital be damned. Anyway, long story short, Room 6 can get back up and running. We just need to collect enough magic material to power the portals again. It's been done once, it can be done again. Collect magic items, disenchant them, and transfer the magical energy into the dynamo that fuels the portal. It's important.
Sounds simple enough.
It's important that we collect enough material, way more than what we need, because you do not want to get caught in between portals.
Mm-mm.
You do not want to be lost in time and space. Things work a little bit differently in between. Does all of that make sense?
Yep. Sounds simple enough.
Sure, yeah.
Yes, we do not want the NPC to exposition again.
She says,
Oh shit! I accidentally hit. No, I didn't get that on the dialogue box.
Yeah, exactly. Talking to you,
Default
Link to the
choice.
Past.
I mashed A too quickly.
great. She says, now I'd like to turn over the PowerPoint presentation to our cook and one of your biggest fans. She goes by the name Raquel Rose. And that's when this fine lady presents herself. She looks a little bit different than the last time you've seen her. Gator, you may remember her as the brownie baker back in Lady Potentia's mask shop. She steps forward.
Her is Rocky Rose.
She goes by Raquel Rose. Now, her eyes are dark and mysterious. She definitely has eyes for Gator, but her voice is soft and hypnotic. But you know, she's still quirky and wide-eyed. She plays with her hair a little bit and repositions her body as soon as she is mentioned, and she begins to speak. So she says, "Hi, Gator. I mean, hi, everybody. Remember me, the girl who made you brownies? Huge fan of your work. Go Young Lions. Yay. Anyways, I go by Raquel now. It's very exciting to see you all again. I've heard so much. I'm sorry that it's under such poor circumstances. Anyway, I'm here to help. I can't exactly help with the magic thing, and I'm not really much of a fighter, but I do know a lot about where you can find some magical material. Okay?
Nice.
And this is kind of a two birds, one stone situation. As luck would have it, here we are in Rumble Reef, and there's a hidden gem temple in Rumble Reef. It just so happens to be full of magic items. So that's a bit serendipitous. Happy accident, you know. It's all just kind of complicated, so I'll come out and say it. The way that you get to the gym is you have to do a bunch of drugs and go on a vision quest inside a magic tree, and then you steal a bunch of magic items from a vault inside the tomb. Does that sound as crazy as it sounded in my head?
That sounds like a Sleep in the Deep from the music video by Mastodon.
Sounds like a Thursday for the young lions.
Great. I thought you would all just turn around as soon as I started talking. You're still here. Okay. So just a little bit more, I promise. We're almost at the big ask at the end here. So gym number 5 this year is in a dungeon tomb deep in the jungle. It's been hidden for centuries, from what I hear, but now it's inside a gigantic tree born from magic seeds. I hear a lot of things, right? I promise you that there are enough magic items down there to fuel a portal, because word is that people go into the temple with lots of magic items and they leave with none of them. That's right. The dungeon steals your items and keeps them. So there should be plenty to pick from while you're in there. It's kind of like
leave all our stuff here before we go in there. Got it.
That's exactly what I'm thinking.
It's kind of like a magic fly trap if you think about it. I think that good old King Jerry knew all about that, and he wanted to send people in there and strip them of their magic items, just so they wouldn't be a problem later on.
Are the rest of the party going to be allowed in? Or is it just going to be for competitors?
Anybody can go in there. You just have to do a bunch of drugs.
Yeah, fair enough.
Okay, so anyways.
All right, could one person do all the drugs and be like our spirit guide?
I don't think it works that way.
No, we can't follow the drugged up one through the right tunnel.
This is kind of a vision quest.
All right.
Like I said before, I can't tell you how it works. I just know how to make the drugs that'll get you there.
Oh, all right.
I mean, come on, it's a team building experience.
So
peer pressure.
I can get into the recipe of how it's all made, but I can tell you that if it's done,
not necessary.
If it's done wrong, you'll die. But don't worry, it's not going to be done wrong. I will do it myself. Basically, you eat petals from the dragon fruit until you throw up, and then soon after you go on this vision quest, and there's lots of pretty colors, and I've never done it myself, but I hear that it's pretty trippy.
Did you guys never do ayahuasca in college? Just me? Just Bronson?
Maybe.
Is that a Territory 1 thing? Okay, never mind.
Must be. She says, but if you die on your vision quest, you die in the real world because the body cannot live without the mind.
So we're not necessarily physically going to this place. That's why we all got to be on the drugs, because otherwise you're not in the vision quest.
Actually, I just made that last part up. Last part up. If you die in the tomb, you just wake up here and all your magic items are gone. Well, you still have them. They just lose all their magical properties. So, I'm sorry. I couldn't help myself. It's been a long day. I just wanted to see the look on your faces. Anyway, the tomb's not dangerous at all, right? It's just a big drug-fueled fever dream. You'll love it, I promise. We'll be right here for when you come to. We're going to take care of you just fine. The Risky Rabbit is where you want to be go through all this.
So how many magic items, what are we talking about in terms of sheer quantity that we would need to power this dynamo?
You want to take everything you can get.
Right, but is everything we can get a easier get at the market? They're selling all sorts of magical items at the market, and also a hippo that we probably need to talk about possibly housing here.
Um,
I'm just wondering if is that the only plan, or is it just that that's also the plan that keeps everyone off the radar? Or, I mean, like, if we've got a lower risk, higher cost, method to do this, I figure it might be worth a shot.
if you have a cache of magic weapons that's like what I'm told is inside the vault of that tomb, then we may be able to just skip it altogether. But if you're thinking about hijacking a supply from local vendors without drawing any attention from them or any heat from them, that might work too. It's entirely up to you, but I'm so looking forward to trying this out. I gotta be honest.
So hold on a second over
Third
here.
possibility could be that we go kill two birds with one stone in terms of Gobby Lobby. Loot, destroy and loot Gobby Lobby, take all that stuff and use it. But I mean, I need to get my badge here anyway, so I've got to go into the temple. I just don't want to necessarily subject the rest of my party to, a potentially very dangerous, heart-stopping situation.
Well, yeah, that's the other part of this two birds, one stone situation, is that the badge that you seek is inside that tomb, and it's not as difficult to find as the vault is, from what I'm told.
It would be nice to not have to do a gym challenge by myself for once. Have some company.
While you guys are bantering, I'm just gonna quietly take out the Nepo baby's crown and just kind of set it in front of her and be like, what does this get us? I know we'll need more than that, but that's got to be something, right?
That's sort of why what I'm looking for in terms of like the number, in that like we have a substantial amount of money between us. We have a substantial amount of magic items. Is this a risk that needs to be undertaken, or and in the event that we do do this and everything like that, does this help make sure that we have a second shot at it if something goes wrong?
Well, it's hard. It's hard to quantify exactly how much is needed. You want to make sure you have way more than enough, because, like we said before, you don't want to get caught halfway there, and you may need to come back through there after you're done if things get a little hairy.
Right. So we need enough to go and have a return trip as a part of our infiltration plan.
That's right. So just out of an abundance of caution, we want to make sure we have way more material than what's actually needed to get this thing going.
Gotcha. Yeah, okay, that sounds good. I mean, I would venture to guess it keeps us off the radar in terms of what moves we're planning. I mean, if we went and bought a bunch of the magic items up, that would probably trip somebody's radar with the amount of rich folks from the capital around here. I'm sure there's some plants. So,
well, she says, well, why don't you go see what you can get first, and then if that's not enough, then you can spend money to supplement the rest.
Sounds good to me. I'm down.
Great. So she sets her gaze on Gator one more time, and her lips curl into a soft smile as she has one more revelation. She says, "Oh, and Gator, I want you to know that your secret is safe with me. I won't share it with anyone unless you want me to. You can trust me with anything." Does that sound weird? I'm sorry. I made that weird. You're amazing. Forget about it. Forget I said anything. I won't ever let anything happen to you. And then she starts fanning herself with her hand. She says, "Is it hot? It's hot today. I am dehydrated. This weather, it's just humid down here. Am I right?" And she laughs to herself. Anyways, I just have to brew up a batch of this purple sticky punch, and you can all taste the rainbow. So I'm just going to go, and we can meet up a little bit later today. So have a long rest and do the thing, and yeah, it'll be great. In conclusion, go Lions, rawr, kiss, kiss. Bye-bye.
She made it kind of weird.
I know. I
Wanted to be like-
appreciate it. Go Lions, kiss, kiss. I think that'll be our new slogan.
I'm just like, ooh, tell me more about Gator.
So she clutches a
Had the
book
opportunity
to...
with the Sword of Truth.
I'm sorry, Gator, say that again?
They had the opportunity to learn more about Gator with the Sword of Truth, but they kind of, I guess we ran out of time for questions.
I mean, we're gonna take a long rest while she brews this stuff.
How dare you?
Are we taking a long rest, or are we going to go steal something or something?
No,
I'm sorry. There
so
was so many technical talk, and I feel like they ran through like 4 different plans. What are we doing?
so the plan is to go on a vision quest, go into the hidden temple, and
Right.
while I get my gym badge, also loot the place because it apparently is a
Yeah, it
Venus
steals our stuff.
flytrap for magic items. So we need to
Right.
make sure that we don't bring any of ours.
All right. That's pretty doable, and
And I think that we're probably not going to be doing this on any physical level. Like, we're going to probably drop a bunch of acid here in one of these cabanas, and then we're all going to go floating around for a little bit. And then once we're done, we're going to come back to our bodies.
okay.
I got that right?
Pretty accurate, yeah.
Yep.
So she
Fantastic.
shuffles away awkwardly with her recipe book kind of clutched to her chest with arms folded over it. She averts eye contact and kind of tucks her hair behind her ears. She scoots away, and Mistress Wolf is embarrassed for her. Dombian appears unamused, but the three of them complement each other in many ways, and this unlikely trio for what it's worth represent a lot of the best things that you've found on the King's Road itself. So that gives you all the opportunity here to think about the gravity of the situation, with the end game finally in sight here, as the waves are still crashing against the reef and underneath the cabana where you now sit. It gives you time to take a long rest before you go on this vision quest. Is there anything that the group would like to do before embarking on that?
I want to buy a capybara, but that's not a real pressing matter.
You want to buy one? I thought we saw him just running around out on the coast. Go chase one down.
Yeah.
It's a rodent. I can talk to it.
Yeah, but I mean, like, I want one that already has some accessories. I don't want to have to go catch it.
Capybara,
What's the
like,
point of making all this money if we can't enjoy spinning it?
I got my score for free.
All right, so are we ready to do some drugs?
Let's do it.
Yep.
Okay, just bear with me for a minute. So she's going to set you up somewhere real comfortable in one of these cabanas where, you know, Mistress Wolf caters to this type of entertainment, right? And is sure to operate with the utmost discretion. And Raquel Rose does return to you when you're in this very comfortable room full of pillows and velvet and all sorts of things with nice textures, and make sure you're all well hydrated before feeding you the petals of this dragon egg typed fruit, which is
Yeah, we're about to be at the intersection of Inception and Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas.
yeah, pretty much. And who would like to be the first one to start eating this fruit?
I'll do it.
Yeah, I'm down.
I've been around. I've done pretty much every other drug in this kingdom.
I got good con saves too, so
Right on. Well, you can start eating these petals, and they're similar to like artichoke petals, right? But they are much more gross. Like there is no way to sugarcoat this stuff. It's one of the grossest things that you've eaten. And Raquel Rose apologizes to you, and she says, there was only so much doctoring that I could do for this. So just trust the process. Just keep eating it. Just keep eating it. Just eat. Just, chase it with something. If it's, trust me, it's just trust the process. So Solomon, you eat 3 or 4 of these petals, and you are starting to feel a little nauseous. Bronson, you're able to power through a lot more of these things. You're like, I'm not feeling anything. It's not working.
no.
And Rosa and Gator, are you doing the same?
I mean, after I get rid of my magic items, yes.
Yep.
I'm sure I don't have them on me.
Basically shedding everything as we're starting this up.
Sure. So
For science.
who's going to hold on to your magic items?
The bag of holding, the snuggle cup.
It's going to be with Snuggle Cup?
He's
Yeah,
a good
we're
boy.
gonna tie the bag of holding, like by a string, tie it around Snuggle Cup's neck, and I command Snuggle Cup to defend the bag.
Okay, so Snug is not going on this vision quest with you.
No, we're not giving the lion psychedelic drugs.
Well, it's a magic lion. But noted. That's actually a pretty good call. Nobody's gonna try to take that. Great. So so Solomon, you start projectile vomiting, which is
As you
kind of
do.
expected, but
Yeah.
Raquel sees it coming. This has been anticipated. There were buckets on the ready, and she does a great job of comforting you. But she keeps shooting glances at Gator, making sure that he's okay.
What a
and
good Sherpa.
As long as he's okay, she's willing to provide comfort to everybody else in the group. And then, eventually everybody has consumed enough of this that you're all, getting violently sick. But that's part of the trip, right? And then at a certain point, after the vomiting, you start to see this psychedelic waves. This all different manner of lights and sounds as a prism, a rainbow road lays out in front of you, beckoning you as you lift out of your body into some sort of other plane of existence. And this road, which is a bit of an astral road, which it directs you towards a gigantic tree in the distance, a world tree, if you will, that has no beginning at the bottom of it. There is only this tree, this road, and you on this vision quest. All of you are there, and the road calls to you as it almost pulses with energy, drawing you in. Do you all follow?
Mhm.
Great. So pull you into the world tree. As you get closer, it almost physically pulls you in, and you're going to be inside. Here we go. Can we see this?
10 gold says Gator licks the walls of the tree.
Schnozberries. It's like snowberries.
Schnozberries. Yep.
Yes.
So the base of this tree, as you approach it, is hundreds of feet wide. All right, and it soars in the air higher than you can see. And an impossible tree laid out in front of you, and at the end of this rainbow road, an entranceway into a dark tunnel. Who's going to be the first to go into this tunnel? We can drop the icons right here.
Me.
Bad boy.
Okay. Bear with me. There we go. Get in there. There he is. All right, so pardon me for a minute. I'm having some technical difficulties. There we go. All right, so Bronson is there. And Bronson, what you see as soon as you step in, that this is a long corridor about 10 feet wide with a red path painted and winding down this hallway. So Bronson, you're going to be in first, and I will leave the session tonight with this image. This is what we see on the inside of this tree.
Do I recognize this hallway?
Do you recognize? This is unlike anything you've seen
Okay.
before.
It's not like a memory or anything like that.
No. This is a tomb tunnel decorated in bright colors, all colors of the rainbow. The floors are. It looks like an ancient floor. This path is painted on the tiles. The walls have different mosaics painted on them. As you get closer, you can make them out, but they've got dust in some areas. They've been caked over. So this is an ancient tunnel, right? This is something that's been here for a long time. And there's an arching ceiling up above, which goes. It looks like it goes up maybe 15 feet off of the ground. But plaster has been smoothed over all these surfaces so that it is smooth. There are areas where the plaster is chipped off, and
But it's not a natural cave or anything like that. It's clearly a worked surface.
this is clearly a work surface. On the floor, we've got these large tiles that are looks like maybe 2 feet by 2 feet, and this is the entrance to the tomb. So that's where we're going to leave it for tonight.
All right.
Inside the tomb of Territory 5. That'll set us up for a little bit of dungeon crawling next week on this vision quest, and who knows what to expect. The party is without their magic items, so
If you just threw us in the Temple of Elemental Evil, I'm going to be so mad.
So we're going to need to make sure that we've got our stat blocks adjusted for no magic items. Any magic, if you have brought in any magic items, you'll just need to tell me what they are, and then we'll go from here. So that's going to be it for this week. I've been Saucey. They've been the Young Lions, and this has been Kings Road Young Lions. Say goodbye, Young Lions.
Goodbye,
Young Lions.
All right. Hey, congratulations. If you're still listening, that means you made it to the end of the episode. Thanks for coming by and listening to this edition of Kings Road Young Lions. If you like what you've heard, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, and leave a comment down below of what you'd like to see on the next episode. For more great content from This Is Awesome Promotions, check out the YouTube channel, check out the Twitch channel, check us out on Twitter at TIA Promotions. Thanks again for coming around, and we'll see you next time down on the King's Road.